today we're going to look at square roots. And your I can statement is I can identify square roots. So let's look at the definition of a square root. So a square root is one of two equal factors of a number. Okay, so here's the kind of the algebraic definition. If x squared equals y, then x is the square root of y. So if I say that 6 squared is 36, because 6 times 6 equals 36, then x, which is 6, is the square root of y. So that means x is the square root of 36. And the way we denote a square root is by this symbol right here. That's called a radical. And so we would say the square root of 36 is 6 because the square root is one of two equal factors of a number. And the equal factors of 36 are 6 because 6 times 6 equals 36. So we can say that square roots are the inverse of squaring. It's the inverse of squaring a number. Okay. So let's see what a square root would look like on this grid. All right, so I'm going to create a square. I'm going to do a 5 by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we know that this is a square because the sides are the same. So that's the definition of a square. The length and the width are the same. So the length is 5 and the width is 5. So that means the area on the inside of the square is 25. Okay, so area and square roots actually go hand in hand. The area of a square is like squaring a number. It's the exact same thing. All right, so let's look to the side here. So the height of my square was 5, and the length of my square was 5. So height and width are kind of the same thing here. So the height and the length of your square that you drew are equal factors. And the reason they're equal is because it's a square, and the lengths of the sides of a square are the same. So how will we determine the area of the square? So think back how you would calculate the area of a square. The area is length times width. And that's really 5 times 5. And you know another way to write 5 times 5 is 5 squared. So 5 squared is 25. So if I gave you the area of the square, you can tell me what the length is. Because remember, the opposite of squaring a number is finding the square root. So if I gave you the area of the square, which is 25, all you had to do is take the square root of it, and you would get the length, which is 5. All right, so you should be able to know the first 20 perfect squares off the top of your head. You should not need a calculator for any of these. So the square root of 1. So factors of 1 are 1. So 1 times 1 equals 1. So that's the factor. The square root of 1 is 1. The factors of 4 that are the same are 2, because 2 times 2 is 4. So the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of 9 is 3. So the factor is 3, because 3 times 3 is 9. The factor of the square root of 16 is 4, because 4 times 4 equals 16. The square root of 25 is 5. The equal factors are 5, because 5 times 5 equals 25. And what you're going to do is you're going to fill out the rest of these. Do not use a calculator. You should be able to see a pattern, if anything, but try to do these on your own, and we will check it in class tomorrow.